Hello friends, welcome to Daily News Analysis on The Hindu by Daily Shots. In this video, we are going to deal with topics from editorial, international and business pages on UPSC and TNPC perspective, and other relevant articles are explained and shared in the below description box in the format of a PDF, and the relevant timestamping had been provided to navigate to the relevant news article directly. So now let's go into the session. The multilateralism is posing a big challenge. So what can we do? New Delhi can strengthen the constructive transnational cooperations, and the country can mediate and revive the gradual socialization of China into international system. So what are the root cause for this powerless nature of World Trade Organization? So basically, the World Trade Organization runs on these three paths: basically negotiation, dispute settlement, and transparency, which is now powerless. So currently, multilateralism is incapable of dealing with the misuse by systematic rivals. And the critics on multilateral countries are that none of them are basically built for interdependence, which means that they are not in the approach of the interdependence, which is enhancing the society's well-being, but being weaponized for nationalistic gains. Basically, for example, misusing of the existing rules, example in China via forced technology requirements, intellectual property rights violations, and subsidies, are gaining an unfair advantage. Even though China's move are diplomatic, its predatory takeover doesn't seem to do any good for the current situation. So, what does this pandemic lesson teach to us? Weaponized interdependence is not just a theory, but a practice that is rapidly evolving, and it can have life and death consequences as well. So, the author responds to this by posing a reformation in the multilateralism. First, a need for reassurance and policies that reflect a renewed commitment. Second, need for some strategic decoupling handled smartly in cooperation with other like-minded countries. Third, following that, the country recognizes the need for decoupling will necessitate closer cooperation with some and distancing from the other. So, what does this mean to India, and what role can it play? Make use of the countries who are departing or decoupling from China. So, this can be a strategic move for India to couple with these countries. And basically, and more importantly, Alliance for Multilateralism, an initiative launched by Germany and France to shape both the alliance itself and reform agenda at the large. So this gives a big role for the country, and India can lead a coalition to bridge this deficit of trust through a regime of incentives and sanctions that seek to embed Beijing into a much more guided and directive socialization approach into the roles of international systems. A warlike state and a bond to the rescue. In this article, the author explains about a special tool called console bond, which was earlier used during the First World War times to reduce the burden of financial crush in the country. So the need of the hour is to stimulate the economy, which requires more and much beyond current revenue receipts. The current scenario of India shows that it has a deficit of 7.96 lakh crore, of balance sheet borrowing around 1.1 percentage of GDP, and an excessive target of 2.1 lakh crores through disinvestments. So these are budgets which was proposed before the pandemic. The current situation is that the financial deficit is widening, showing the revenue shrinkages and the lack of appetite for disinvestment. So the government has been asked to increase the spending to around 5 to 6 lakh crores as stimulus, and the states asked for doubling the ways and means and advance limits due to the shortages in indirect taxation collections from the GST, fuel, and liquor. So the method which is raised or advised to be used is that the method which is used during the First World War times is the console bond, which the British government where it paid around 10% of the total outstanding console bond debt. So the interest was paid on this debt bond was 5%, were issued in 1917 as the government sought to raise more money to finance the ongoing cost of the First World War. So the author explains why is it a better option to go. So the current situation of the fall of real estate and given the lack of safe havens outside of gold, the bond would offer a dual benefit as a risk-free investment for retail investors. Additionally, attractive coupon rate for the bond or tax rebates could also be an incentive for investors. Subsequently, once this all is done, the government can consider a phased redemption of these bonds after the economy is put back on a path of the growth. Back home, this article explains how the Indian expatriates could create a surge and increase of the possible second wave of novel coronavirus and how the government can mitigate. So the need for the hour is that the government needs to prepare for both a possible second wave of the coronavirus as well as a rapid increase in Indian expatriates needing to return. Given that the drop in oil prices in West Asia and the downturn in global economies. So, as a technical statistics are given, 15,000 nationals from 13 countries in the first week are being planned to bring back them to the host country, and estimates of applicants ranging between 5 lakhs to 10 lakhs to the embassies and missions will have their task cut out prioritizing list of those who will return. According to the standard operating procedures released by the Home Ministry, so those who have compelling reasons to return, peoples whose visa are expiring, who face deportations with the family emergencies, medical issues including pregnancy, and students who have lost their accommodations will be allowed to return on the first phase as the priority. Stringent conditions, which include mandatory institutional quarantine for 14 days, is obliged on the people who are being expatriated. Necessary to consider putting in better systems so that it does not have to repeat the trauma of keeping Indian citizens stranded outside the country for extended periods away from their families. So, this is the main condition, and a precautious system to be adopted before in hand. And it is also necessary that the quarantine facilities are identified and the makeshift centers are built in to deal with the large numbers of people who may need to return. Everyone wants a good stimulus. So, in this article, the author explains what are the financial burden which the current government is facing and how can it provide a good stimulus. So, the need of the hour in this article is government is owing about 1 lakh crore on tax refunds, which the author says is to be in need to transfer to the states as a grant for 1 year to offset the revenue loss to the states. While looking into the companies, they plead for less or no government and they want to privatize their profits. The corporate India wants to always privatize profits and socialize losses. So, what are the author's concern in it? What will constitute a good stimulus? The poor must be supported, but what is the best way to do it? Indeed, who should get what, when should they get it, and how? The RBI can print notes, no question asked, but this is not without serious consequences and the trade offs needs to be understood. So, these are the serious questions and concerns posed by the author. So, in the current situation of the supply side lockdown, the announcement of the stimulus will also may have a good or bad effects. So, any good stimulus can come into effect post lockdown with extensive consultations with everyone. Additionally, the author also poses the financial burden which is faced by the government. So the government revenues hit by 2 to 3% of GDP. Given that the disinvestment target itself is 1% of GDP, and it had realized close to zero in the current financial year. So the effective fiscal deficit is 7.5% of GDP if you take into account all the offset of balance sheet borrowings. Additionally, the government is also burdened with the direct benefit transfers to the poor and the merit expenditure on health and other welfares. So, while comparing it with the government's past administration in years from 1947 to 1997, the central government always routinely monetized its deficit without leading to high rates of inflation, much less hyperinflation. The fiscal responsibility and budget management, which is known as FRBM, was hardly a grand success, and all the governments routinely have broken the barrier. So, while comparing the stimulus package announced by the other countries, like the huge debt to GDP ratios like Japan, which is showing greater than 200 percentage, and US 125 percentage, whereas India is about 70 percentage. And also, India's destiny appears relatively safe, is what the author says, if we cast the mind's eye around the globe. So, lifting the lockdown will be the first step towards a good stimulus, and one does need to handcuff a billion people to save their lives too. So, these are the suggestions and the important remedies which needs to be taken care by the government. Rent control amidst pandemic. So, in this article, the author explains the need of the hour to shift from the Disaster Management Act to rent control acts that actually aim to regulate rental housings. So, the current issue with the policymaker is that they do not know who these landlords actually are, since the vast majority of the rental agreements in India are informal and unrecorded. So, governments are ordering or requesting landlords to excuse rent and stop evictions on the basis of Disaster Management Act of 2005. So, basically, what is needed in this scenario? Medium to long term thinking on rent control laws in states is required, as well as central government's Model Tenancy Act 2090 could be useful. So, what are the current scenarios? Landlords, especially in rental housing market in poor parts of our cities, are as poor and vulnerable as their tenants. The consumption data for poor households in urban areas indicate a uniform lack of savings or access to social and economic safety nets for both landlords and tenants. There is no legal obligations for landlords to excuse rent or not to evict tenants in the current pandemic. So, as a way forward, the author explains three important points for this current scenario. The first one is that making the Rent Act applicable across more and more tenancies. The Model Tenancy Act playing a key role in emphasizing the registration of rent agreements through to be established rent authorities in every state. So he means to say that the rental act should be applicable more and more on more and more tenancies, given that the MTI is playing a key role. So, as an example, Tamil Nadu has already launched such an authority that manages a portal for this simplified registration. Second, the rent tax as well as the MTA needs a force majeure clause for emergencies such as pandemic, such as in the case of pandemic. When this is being passed under a rental law for registered tenancies, it will carry far stronger legal sanctions than under the disaster law. So, as a positive note for the landlords, the author suggests that mobilization of housing welfare and disaster funds is required to make up for this loss of rent. So, advantages, as he says, is that having registered tenancies would then be evident because the government will be able to channel funds and direct the funds directly into the account of landlords and tenants. A lab at the heart of US-China virus pat. So, in this article, the author explains how China's laboratory being accused by the top American officials for being the source of pandemic. US epidemiologist echoed what World Health Organization had said, telling the National Geographic that all evidence so far strongly indicates a natural origin. So, what do these researchers do? A new virus shared a 79.6% sequence identity to the SARS coronavirus. It also had 96% identical at the whole genome level to a coronavirus found in the bats. So, the lab's researchers highlighted that the need for preparedness for viruses potentially spreading out of their natural reservoirs into human communities. So, what does it handle? What does the lab handle? Wuhan Institute houses the largest virus bank in Asia, which preserves more than 1,500 strains. The complex strains, Asia's first maximum security lab, is equipped to handle class 4 pathogens, which is P4, called the Ebola. So the author asked, could there be a leak? The US diplomatic concerns are concerned about the inadequate safety standards related to the uh, researchers handling of SARS like bat coronavirus in the high security lab. COVID-19 to help accelerate e-commerce adoption. In this article, the author explains how the e-commerce industry is to boom after this pandemic, as being the current scenario where 5% is adopting is had adopted the online sales, which is to move around 10% of the Indian retail sales market in the next 12 to 18 months. So the 95% of India's retail sales happen at stores, and through online it contributes only 5%. The perfect combination of digital and physical will define the new shopping experience, is what the retailers say. Entire product value chain will need to be articulated as part of the product info, which means to say that much more value is added for the money being paid. And the 31% of the world's GDP is retail. And from a digital perspective, 40 petabytes of data is generated every hour in retail. So it shows the demand signal of the world. Post COVID-19 era, data signals from retail will provide vital clues on the shape of economy's recovery. Thank you, friends, for watching. That's all from today's daily news analysis. The relevant fact check points had been added in the last page of the PDF. So give me a thumbs up if you like the video and subscribe to my channel.